Ahoy, everyone. Hi, Jenny and Barman. I see you're in the chat already. Um, I'll just ask some people in the chat. I'm got this microphone. I don't know is that good. Let me know if I sound okay. But I'm gonna just say I was taking a little bit of a break from YouTubing. I was, I needed to take a break for a little while, and I had no intention of coming on today. But then I spent most of the day whilst I was working listening to LBC, and listening to the absolute shit show which has gone on in the British Parliament today. And some of you may recall that our beloved Prime Minister, Mr. Boris Johnson, he got into a little bit of trouble a few months ago because it turned out that whilst we were all in lockdown through, for COVID restrictions and so on, and whilst we were all trying to abide by the rules, and at least since some of us, at least on the YouTubes, were tearing into these blimmin' anti-vaxxer and these muppets who are going out and protesting against vaccine centres and lockdown bans and whatever, we're calling them out. So for us to kind of find out that the people actually making the rules were all having a great big piss up during Christmas, whilst we were in lockdown, is a bit of a slap in the face, to put it mildly. And this guy, and he kind of originally went from saying, "Oh, there were no parties going on," to, "Well, oh no, there were work meetings. I didn't know they were parties." But anyway, this shit's kicked off again today because we have had there was a report that was commissioned that by by a lady called Sue Gray did and she was a civil servant in the UK. She's the second permanent secretary investigation in the cabinet office, I believe. And I thought we might pick out some of the highlights of this because this some of the stuff that's come out today is pretty damn damning. But it looks as if Boris has somehow survived again. Hey, Charlie Dave, good to see you, mate. Yeah, this is a lot of the stuff is damning, and it just remind me of why I was so fucking angry about this to begin with. But I thought we'd have a little read through some of the highlights of this. And I've got the Grey report because it's been published, it's been made public today. So let's share the screen. I might open this thing out up in a little while if anyone wants to come in. That's fine. Okay. I think this is it. It should be up on the screen now. Okay, this is the Grey report. Okie dokie. Cool. So this now I should point out that right, okay, that was bizarre. Blumenau. Yeah, there you go. See, they're trying to silence us already. If you're one of those conspiracy theorists, where was I? Oh yes, the Grey Report. Let's have a little look. Yeah, Boris clearly isn't resigning over this. And personally, um, I think he should have done. Honestly, my honest opinion. And that's even putting my own personal partisan politics aside. People know I'm not a conservative, but I think it. Even if you're one of those people who defends him and says, "Look, he's got all the big calls right around or whatever," which is usually the excuse. I think the fact that is to me is clearly he has broken the law. It's been found that he broke the law, and it's been found that he's clearly to me misleading the House of Commons. Um, I just feel that's inexcusable, no matter if otherwise the best prime minister in British history. And I don't think he's the best prime minister in British history, just for the record. I'm just saying, even if for argument's sake, we gave him all of everything that he got all the big calls right. I still think the findings of this are this is inexcusable. This is fucking inexcusable. This is because it leaves us with two options: is that either the man is a blithering incompetent who's not fit to be prime minister, if this is going on right in front of his nose and he didn't know it, or he's an out and out fucking liar and has lied to Parliament. So those are the only two options we've got here. Um, uh, Maybe even a bit of both, possibly. But let's have a little look. Okay, findings of the second permanent secretary's investigation into alleged gatherings report. 1. 8th of December 2021, Prime Minister asked the Cabinet Secretary to carry out an investigation into allegations reported in the media to gatherings in number 10 Downing Street and the Department of Education that happened during November 2020. Okay? Now, the cabinet, for people who don't know, cabinet secretary is he runs the cabinet. You know, um, if you ever watch Yes Prime Minister, that's kind of Sir Humphrey Appleby's job. In if you ever watch if anyone's ever watched Yes Prime Minister, that's what the cabinet secretary is. He's pretty much the highest ranking civil servant, really. Now, number 2. 17th of December 2021, the Cabinet Secretary recused himself from the investigation as a result of allegations concerning an online quiz held by his private office in the Cabinet Office on 17th of December 2020 in 70 Whitehall. It was at this point that that Sue Gray was brought in. So the Cabinet Secretary himself had to withdraw from this. 3. Terms of reference for this investigation were published on December 9th, 2021. The primary purpose of the investigation was to establish a general understanding of the natures of the gathering, including attendance, the setting up, and the purpose, with reference to adherence to the guidance in place and at the time. So let's just see what Barman's saying there. No amount of good will cancel out the bad. Look at Thatcher, some good, but some decent doesn't negate a shit ton of bad. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing I can say. It's even it. I mean, I don't. Personally, I don't think they got all the big calls right at all. I think they fucked up at every turn. That's just my own But even if I was to grant them that, I still can't excuse this. So, 31st of January 2022, I published an update appended to this report, detailed terms of reference, the timeline, and regulations, which set out the methodology of the investigation, 16 gatherings within its scope, and number of limited general findings. It also confirmed that the Metropolitan Police Service had decided to investigate events on the following dates, and that is the 20th of May 2020, 18th of June 2020, 19th of June 2020, 13th of November 2020. All of these gatherings in in the premises of number 10 Downing Street. Oh, hold on. No, there's a load more actually. There's a shitload more. December 2020, um, April 2020 and 2021. Metropolitan Police assessed that the following gatherings did not reach the criminal investigation phase. So that's 15th of May 2020, 27th of November 2020, 10th December 2020. So these are the ones that, so there were some that that they didn't, outcome of the Met investigation. They did their own investigation. They made 100, they confirmed that I made 126 referrals for fixed penalty notices. These are the fines for the Office of Criminal Records breaches of COVID, for events on these dates. I don't think in the last one of them that Boris got any more, but Boris was given a fine. So, quite interesting. Didn't specify to whom the FPNs were issued, nor was that information. They shared that information with me. They did confirm a total of 83 individuals receiving them. So there's some things that the Metropolitan Police didn't share with Sue Gray. The Prime Minister and Chancellor of the Exchequer each confirmed that they had received a fixed penalty notice to the event at 19th of June 2020. So that's there. Okay, they both confirmed that both the that's confirmed there that both the Prime Minister and the Chancellor of Exchequer, those are the two most senior jobs in the British I think that. Oh, by the way, Barman, I think that's in there. I haven't quite got to that bit yet. There is a. I do believe that was mentioned earlier today. Off the top of my head, I can't. Remember that, but there was So now the police, so methodology. Was to update and set out the context and methodology in the investigation. I will not repeat that other than here some detail to support. In finalising, I continue to take advice as appropriate from the Treasury Solicitor and Christopher Knight of the Council. Scope. Let's go. Okay, so the original scope of the Cabinet Office investigation focused on 3 gatherings alleged to have taken place at number 10 Downing Street and the Department of Education in November and December 2020. The terms of reference allowed for the investigation of credible allegations of other gatherings. That led my team and I into investigating a further 13 events reported to have taken place over the period of the pandemic period and the lockdowns. 12. Details of these additional events emerged in a number of ways. This information was provided. So a lot of this at the moment is setting out the nature of the investigation and the findings. So just say, given the terms of reference, as well as the significant extension to the scope of the investigation, it was not possible to interview all of those who may have attended such events, nor was it necessary. As such, the investigation focused on speaking with those individuals who were key to understanding whether the alleged events had taken place, and what their nature was, how they came to be organised. Um, in line, that approach follows narrative. I'm trying to get back to this, or get through some of this, because this is obviously setting out the scale. I want to get to obviously some of the juicy stuff here. Obviously, she does mention that in some cases there probably have been there's probably some names that have been redacted. There are photographs that have been that were taken, and some of these are published. I've decided considered wherever some of these have been published. Um, so Cabinet Office's investigations has accumulated a body of material in the course of the work: interviews, photographs, documents. The vast majority is not directly used to the narratives below. I've asked the cabinet. I don't know what's going on. I don't not know what's going on with my stream yards today. I have no idea. The problem is I can't always see when it's happened to me because I'm sort of trying to read as well, and so oh boy, I can see this is going to be this stream's going to be a bloody disaster, isn't it? This has already happened to me twice now. So, but yeah, I was in the middle. When I noticed I'd gone off screen, the paragraph I was reading it. Every citizen has been impacted by the pandemic. Everyone has made personal sacrifices, some of the most profound having been unable to be with loved ones in their last moments or for care for vulnerable family and friends. I think that is important because that really is the heart of this. That paragraph there is very much the heart of why people are so fucking angry about this, and rightfully so. You've had a lot of stories of people who've, you know, had to attend blimmin' funerals or whatever on, via Zoom or something. You know, it's just this. I don't know. It's just lots and lots of horrible stories of people who've suffered, not been able, not been able to get the closure or whatever, and saying goodbye to, loved ones because we were abiding by the rules. We were abiding by the lockdowns. We were doing what was being asked of us. This is the heart of the matter. Now, so we're getting into the findings of this now. 15th of May, photographs showing, groups of people in the garden at number 10 Downing Street. So there probably will be some redacted. So it says, this is 15th of May 2020, by the way, just so people know. In the early evening, a number of people gathered in number 10. The individuals were divided into groups of varying sizes, with some standing on the grass, two on other groups, and seated tables on the terrace garden. A photograph of these groups was subsequently published in the Guardian newspaper 19th December 2021. As explains those interviews as part of the investigation, this, gatherings of separate meetings. The largest group was then made up of Secretary of State for Health at number 10, press conference which had taken place were going up Master Wine. Both groups were discussing the press conference. The Secretary of State left at 1825. At a table on the terrace, the Prime Minister, Martin Reynolds, his private secretary, Dominic Cummings. Oh God, there's a name from the past. Well, he's not quite gone away. We're continually meeting. Prime Minister bought cheese and wine from his flat. Meeting lasted approximately 40 minutes. So this one, it's not been but there's no reason to suggest this. Okay, so the first one in this report, they're saying there's probably nothing wrong with this one. Yeah, I know, I understand that, Jenny. In the grand scheme of things, I just, in the grand scheme of things, this isn't as important as that, but it's and it's a fucking tragedy. It's I find it difficult to even engage in these conversations around guns now, because it's gonna happen again, and it's gonna happen again and again and again, and it wears you down after a while. And but this is, I mean, a lot of this is where I think this is important in a way, to stress this in a way, because this is kind of the thing that a lot of the British newspapers who are pro Boris have tried to do, okay, over the last few months about this, and it's like, come on, we've got a cost of living crisis. There's a war on in Ukraine, and there's all this big stuff. This Partygate stuff isn't important. Yet at the same time, the same newspapers have been absolutely wanting the head of the leader of the opposition for allegedly breaking lockdown rule, which he is being investigated for. I think initially there was found to be nothing wrong with it, but they're looking at it again. And to be fair, he has said if he doesn't believe he broke any rules, but if he's found out that he did, he will resign. This is what he said. I'm not going to be honest, I'm not even a massive fan of the leader of the Labour Party, honestly. But May 2020 gathering, May 20th, 2020. Number 10, garden staff. Very limited justifications to travel to work, some restrictions. Summary of this: there was a gathering in this one. The festival was for the purposes of boosting staff morale. The invitation was initially submitted by number 10 to extend to the Cabinet Office and planned by. Some concerns were expressed about whether it was appropriate to hold the event. And we got some transcripts here. I'm always sorry that's correct, Barman. I mean, that's the whole thing. This is what it's about. That is why this is important. They made the rules, okay? This government made the rules around lockdowns. People were fined for breaking them. We've all called out these dickheads who went out and deliberately broke the lockdown rules because they don't like, because they think vaccines and lockdowns are some part of some new world order bullshit. We've all called them out. The problem here, and this is why it is important, is the people making the rules should be following the bloody rules themselves. That is the problem, and they don't seem to give a shit. Now, so a private email sent to the number 10 private secretary email group. It read, "Hi all, it wouldn't be nice to have a nice weekend with us. Shall we try and do a socially distanced drinks in the garden Wednesday or Thursday?" Oh, so sounds like fun. Go out and get the booze. Number of internal events team replied. You get a couple of tables. This is all, So I'm sort of skim reading this, but this is it's the thing with so we have got transcripts here. I think there are four in today. Great, can also suggest that. So, so this was a lot of preparation for this. So please join us 6 p.m. Bring your own booze. Martin, so that's Martin Reynolds, the private principal secretary of. I think he works for the Sun newspaper now. Um, you know. Oh yeah. Hang on, but the pricks work on yeah. Well, I tell you what, Jenny. I don't know if you noticed, there was a Conservative member of Parliament who, about a month or so ago, came out as trans, and actually, this it was quite. I mean, obviously, she's Conservative MP, but her story was very moving. On the same day as that happened, Boris cracked a private function, cracked a pronouns joke on the same day as one of his own members of Parliament. So yeah, I'm trying to think this. So Raisin Martin Reynolds. So this one here, okay, this is interesting. A number 10 director declined the invitation and told the investigation they've been raised this with Martin Reynolds and his office that holding this event was not a good idea. And wow, Lee Kane, the then director of communications, received information. He emailed and saying so others were like, "Oh, it'd be okay." But this is it. Well, what's interesting about this, there are people in there who were saying, "I don't think we should be doing this." So it started at 6 o'clock on 20th of May 2020. It'd been difficult to ascertain exact numbers, but it's likely that there were approximately 30 or 40 people in the garden. Prime Minister attended approximately 1800 for about 30 minutes to thank the staff before returning to his office. Martin Reynolds so he went for meeting for another 30 minutes, but the majority of people who attended the vote were present. Were present early in the evening, of a number of individuals seen leaving Downing Street between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock at night. Drinks and pizza were provided and paid for by staff. Following day, 21st May 2020, a number 10 special advisor emailed Martin Reynolds saying the following: "Hi Martin, thanks for organising these drinks and providing the wine. A very kind thing to do. I know everyone really appreciated. Reynolds, thanks. It was a lot of fun. Nice to chat with everyone." This event was also referenced in a subsequent WhatsApp message, an unknown date, done date. And listen to this, Martin Reynolds, "Best of luck. A complete non-story, but better than them focusing on our drinks, which we have seemed to have gotten away with." which we seem to have got. So it tells me there, Reynolds fucking knew. He fucking knew what he's doing. I mean, the best, like I said, in fact, with Boris with this, with Boris, the best you can say about him is that the guy's a complete plum. If he didn't know that a party was going on in his own house, you know, but what on earth? Wow. This is just unreal. So he got on to 18th of June 2020, Whitehall, on the departure of a number 10 official. The summary is that it took place in and around the cabinet office at 70 Whitehall. So this was somebody's leaving do. Preparations, emails were sent out on the 11th of June, so at least a week beforehand. This was planned. Number of individuals accepted the invitation, including Martin Reynolds, the then principal private secretary to the Prime Minister, Lee Kane, the number 10 director, communications, leaving drinks, can we discuss handling, email exchanges. I'm trying to get to the big point of the big point of this one. There's a lot of transcript there. First part of the event, over 25 people gathered for the first formal part of the leaving event with speeches which took place in the cabinet room, including number 10 official number 1, Dominic Cummings, again, Simon Case, the permanent secretary for COVID and pandemic response, was in here. Okay, this is the civil servant in charge of, not the political minister, but the actual civil servant in charge of, dealing with the COVID. And, gathered at 6:30, finished 4:07. Not all of those who attended in person stayed for the entirety. Alcohol, but then you see there was a second part of the event, which took place in the waiting hall area outside the private office at 70 Whitehall. Not all of the attendees were there for the second part, but how long did this one go on for? Someone say just last. Wow, what? The event lasted a number of hours. There was excessive alcohol consumption by some individuals. One individual was sick, and there was a minor God damn! So there was a beer and there was a punch up and somebody throwing up. Okay, there is a. Okay, this party got so damn lively, and the last bit of this, right? The event broke up in stages. A few members were leaving for around 9 o'clock, and the last member of staff who stayed to tidy up left at 3:15 in the fucking morning. This was no bloody work event. This was an out and out. That is a party. Excessive. I'm going to read this a bit. The event lasted for a number of hours. There was excessive alcohol consumption by some individuals. One individual was sick. There was a minor altercation between 2 other individuals. Guys, I'm going to take a minute, all right? I'm going to be back in like a minute or two, right? Okay? Because I'm going to need alcohol for the rest of this fucking stream. I might open the stream up if anyone wants to come in and talk in a minute as well. But I'm gonna put my like little thing up there, and I'm just gonna put my back in the few banner up somewhere. I'm sure I've got one of them somewhere. There you go. Back in a few minutes. Need beer. I'll open it up when I come back. Honestly, I just I kind of need it after that. Right. Sorry about that, everybody. I'll come back on. I apologise about that. Anyone still watching? But this is unbelievable. Oh, hello. Something went. I've got my. I had my phone on in the background. Let me turn that off. That was on loud. Oi. I might open the stream up if anyone wants to pop in. Actually, but I just will warn. I'll put the link in the chat, but I'll warn you if I don't know you know who you are. I probably won't let you in because I got, last time I did that, um, some asshole porn bombed me. So if I don't know who you are, I'm sorry, you won't be getting on. Um, but I put the link in the chat. I'll pin that. Hold on. How do I pin this in bloody StreamYards? Okay, let's get rid of my banner as well. Oi. So, wow. There's quite a lot more of these. So 19th of June 2020. Prime Minister's birthday party. The event is emails. Okay, this one event lasted between 25 past 2, 14:45, which the Prime Minister was present. Those attending consumed, food and drank alcohol. There's photographs of the event. It doesn't really sort of necessarily say whether this one. I'm trying to see if this one's one of the ones that did break the rules. I'm trying to figure that out right now. This is the one the Prime Minister said he wasn't aware of advance this in advance, and the now 13th of November 2020. Now, okay, this is interesting. So remember, we had a second national lockdown, which started on the 5th of November 2020. We had a whole. We came out for a little bit, and then, we went back. We went back into lockdown. People recall. Because we had that short, sharp one before Christmas, didn't we? And then, yeah. So it was publicly announced that two of the Prime Minister's most senior advisors, Dominic Cummings and Lee Kane, would leave government. There was a leaving speech for Mr. Kane on that day, which event that the Prime Minister attended. Number of press office. Now the event itself. It was a leaving do for Cummings going. He left. I mean, he left under a bit. He left under a cloud as well. So let's information collected on this gathering is limited in the process. This is one of the ones when this is one of the ones where the Metropolitan Police did investigation. So Sue Gray, I think, found it a bit difficult to get maybe all the data she needed on this one, which is, somewhat understandable, you could say. So there's the link. By the way, if anyone wants to come in, it is in the chat. So this one's a little difficult, I suppose, then, because I have to read what I can't remember what the Metropolitan Police said about this one, but I know that was one where There was a second one in November 2020. So we're still in the second national lockdown here. You know, so this looks like another leaving do. Approximately 15, 20 people in attendance, some of whom were drinking alcohol, as well as people from the press office, a number of senior officials, private staff. Prime Minister finished the meeting at 6:20, and then attended the press office. So he remained for a short few words, said goodbye, left it. So, I mean, the highlight to me was over this one is the one that went on from till bloody, for anyone, if people got so drunk they were throwing up and getting it looked like they were getting in the fisticuffs. Another one here went on for an hour. This was December 2020. It kind of where they want to have one in the department's canteen based on it being a well ventilated space which would permit social distancing. Hyle were planning on having some socially distanced festive drinks in the canteen. It'd be great if you could join us. This is open to private office staff and ministers if they are around. For those working at home, there are plans for Christmas divisional where people will be able to dial it in and have a virtual festival gathering. Well, why don't they all have a fucking virtual? Why don't they all have a bloody piss up over Zoom? Christ, we can all have a piss up on a YouTube stream over New Year's Eve or something. You know, why can't they do that? It's not difficult, is it? Ain't difficult to do that at all. So, okay, I think I want to get a bit further with this because now we do seem to be getting through a lot of these. I want to. See, this thing's a bit longer than I recall it being said it would be. 17th December. They got a whole thing about the the regulations that were applicable here. Um, so they're talking about their virtual Christmas party and the virtual quiz, but I mean, look, virtual stuff no one's got a problem with, right? Have they? No one's. But it looks as if there was. I'm going to actually get to the crescendo of this. I think you know what? But some of these are unbelievable. Some of these are unreal. I mean, it's a long old report. It's well worth, I think. I mean, I'm skimming this, but this is. But it looks to me like they actually had a regular name for like their blooming Friday wine day or whatever the fuck what they were calling it. So I'm going to get down to really to the crescendo of the grey. Okay, so I think we've got to. Okay, so here are the conclusions of this. I'm going to set the conclusions. General findings set in my update of 31st of January still stand. Whatever the initial intent, what took place at many of these gatherings and the way in which it developed was not in line with coded guidance at the time, even allowing for the extraordinary pressures officials and advisors were under. The factual findings of this report illustrate some attitudes and behaviours inconsistent with that guidance. It's also clear that from the outcome of the police investigation, what a large number of individuals, 83 who attended these votes, breached regulations and therefore guidance. I have already commented in my update what I found to be the failures of leadership and judgment at number 10 in the Cabinet Office. The events that I investigated were attended by leaders in government. Many of these events should not have been allowed to happen. It is also the case that in some of these events was permitted and given the attendance of the senior leaders. The senior leadership at both the political and official must bear responsibility for the culture. In my update, I made a number of general limited findings. I'm pleased to progress the addressing the issues I raised. I commented on fragmentary and complicated leadership structures at number 10. Since my updates, that there have been changes in organisation and management with the aim of creating clearer lines of leadership and accountability. Now these need to trying to chance to bed in. So she is saying she's seen some improvement with the way things are being handled here in the organisation, which yeah, maybe too little, too late for me personally, but I found that some staff have been subjected to behaviours at work which made them felt concerned about, but at times unable to raise property. I was made aware of multiple examples of a lack of respect and poor treatment of security and cleaning staff. Now, I didn't even find the event that this was, but this was a headline that was there today. The security guard, it was security staff at their tried to basically step in at one of these things and say, hey, you shouldn't be doing this, and was basically just told to piss off. She said, this was unacceptable. I'm reassured to see that steps have been taken to introduce more easily accessible means by which to raise concerns electronically, in person, online, including directly with the permanent secretary in number 10. I hope this will truly embed a culture that welcomes and creates opportunities for challenging and speaking up at all levels. I don't know. I mean, she's more interested. She's more optimistic than I am. Also made the recommendation that steps should be taken to ensure that every government department has a clear and robust policy in place to covering the consumption of alcohol in the workplace. Since then, the guideline has been issued to all government departments. Now, it says here the matter of what disciplinary action should be taken is outside the scope of this report and for others to consider, which is fair enough, I suppose. She's just there to investigate the events. I don't think she's sure the scope of her report was to recommend any particular, penalties. Nothing set out in the report can be taken as constituting a disciplinary investigation or findings of fact of such purpose. However, I do offer a reflection. While there is no excuse for some of the behaviour set out here, it's important to acknowledge that the most junior positions attended these gatherings in which their seniors were present or indeed organised. I had no doubt that they were taking the learning experience of this, and while it's not a matter for me, I hope this will be taken into account when considering any disciplinary action. And I think that's that I think is an important statement to make about the civil service aspect of this. A lot of junior civil servants were at these events, but so were their bosses. So the senior civil servants. They're going to do what they see their boss is doing. They think it's And I think this is the last bit of what Sue Gray had to say in this, I think, and that is many will be dismayed at the behaviour of the kind that took place on the scale at the heart of government. The public have a right to expect the very highest standards of behaviour in such places, and clearly what happened fell short of this. It is my firm belief, however, that these events did not reflect the prevailing culture in the government and the civil service at the time. Many people, thousands of people up and down the country worked tirelessly to deliver in unprecedented times, are immensely proud to be a civil servant and or working in the service in the wider public sector during this pandemic. I suppose as a civil servant, you've got to somewhat expect that from Sue Gray. But here's the problem. Once again, there's several people I think need to go as a result of this. Boris, first of all, should have been done a decent thing to stay. He's not going to. We already know he hasn't. I think Rishi, the Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, he was given one. He should go. And I think there's a lot of, as far as I'm concerned, a lot of blooming senior civil servants who should fucking heads should roll for allowing this shit to go on. So we've got some party photos there. As I said, this may seem a pretty innocuous thing on the surface. Oh, they're just having a party or whatever during lockdown. What they might, they shouldn't have done it, but no. Again, these are the people that made the rules. These are the people that made the rules and expected us to abide by the rules. They got to lead by example. They haven't done that. And it's just kind of what pisses me off is when you get people like Jacob Rees-Mogg then, who turns around and sort of was like, almost insinuates, well, maybe if the he said something along these lines a few months ago, that maybe we need to consider whether the rules were right to begin with. So basically, when your own people get caught out, like Jacob Rees-Mogg is, well, maybe the rules were wrong. I mean, they seemed all right when you all voted to put them in. It only became a problem to Jacob Rees-Mogg when politicians in his own party were caught. Where does it go from here? Do I think the Tory MP backbenchers will dump Boris Johnson? Probably not. There's a few that definitely are pissed at him now. There's definitely one or two even voiced the fact that they were pissed at him. But he ain't going nowhere. He ain't go, I don't think he's. I'll be very surprised if he's going anywhere right now. And I'm just going to do a little update because my understanding is that there was a press conference a little while ago. So I'm going to do a little update. I believe there was a again another meaningless apology by the look of it. Looks like this thing was still going on a few minutes ago. This report, because some of the questions or whatever are still coming up now. So I haven't got it on because yeah, probably copyright issues, I'd imagine. So I'm probably a little reluctant to put that up live right now. But this is, to me, this just disgusting abuse of public office um, that you know I'd often wonder if even as bad as some of the other governments have been in the past, like I think there's some previous prime ministers that probably would have fucking resigned if they'd done this shit and been caught. You know, um, okay, I'm not so sure Tony Blair would have done. I think he was smug enough to. I think he was smug enough to think he could get through it like Boris, but there's others I think would have done. You know, um, but there's basically there's a few people in the cabinet that need to go, um, and this isn't even partisan politics. Like I said, even if you're one of those people that think that they did get all the big calls right, and I don't, but let's just say they have. Let's just say they got all the big decisions right. Doesn't fucking excuse this. It does not negate the fact that people, senior politicians and senior civil servants broke the fucking laws that they introduced. You know. Yeah, probably. I'm sure he'd have got ahead of. I'm sure he'd have got ahead of the whole thing with a dossier or something before he'd have had his own dossier on the thing prepared. Anyway, let's not even fucking go there. And let's not even fucking go there about Tony Blair because I could that could set me off on a that could definitely set me off on a long tirade about that man, honestly. But yeah, I mean, it's it's one of them things, isn't it? Because some of us here on YouTube quite rightly called these bloody mugs out who went out during the went out breaking restrictions for their blooming protests about their quote unquote freedom and their medical freedom. Um, and we're breaking regulations, and we were like, we're kind of like, yeah, good. They should have been arrested. They should have been charged. They should have been bloody fined for breaking the rules. Then to find out the own, you know, yeah, yeah, it wouldn't have happened. She had no friends to be invited to a party. Yeah, yeah, no, no. Same thing if Corbyn had won the election, honestly, as well. But oh boy, um, yeah. But actually, all joking aside, I couldn't have seen. I wasn't a fan of Theresa May, but I couldn't have seen her doing shit like this. Um, you know, even David Cameron, I couldn't see him doing this. Gordon Brown, like I said, Blair, I don't know. Major, Thatcher. These are the people who've been, during my lifetime, who've been prime ministers. I think if any of them had been caught doing this shit, I don't think any of them would have done it. I got a question mark on Blair, but any of the others, I don't think they'd have done this. And there's not really one among them that I overly like that much. I've got to say, but um, I don't think any of them would either would have done this, or at least if they'd been caught doing this shit, would have done the honourable thing today and said, "I've got to go. This guy Boris Johnson is incapable." Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he was good at spin, was Blair. I'll give him that. He was very good at spinning things. So, like I said, it would have been a it would have there would have been a there would have been a big dossier about how there was no parties and yeah. But I just felt the need to come on and have a look at some of this today because I've been hearing about it all day. It's been kind of winding me up. So I don't know, a bit of personal catharsis just to go on and rant for an hour. Um, Otherwise, I said I've been having a wee bit of a break from the YouTubes. Things going on and often feeling a bit knackered. I'm going to try and do some bit more stuff and get hopefully find some time and get myself back into a couple of the things I was looking. Oh, I can't. But I don't think I can even summon the energy to rant about guns anymore. Um, I've got strong feelings on it. I don't. I just don't get America's fascination with guns. Um, but it's just one of those things that now most of the I think most of the I don't want to speak for all the Americans I know, but I'll say most of the Americans I know actually kind of do want sensible fucking gun laws. But it's time. The thing is, it gets a little depressing, and I think I'd imagine to an American as well. It would to an American. I'm sure it's even more depressing than it is to me. But it's knowing that this shit keeps happening time and time and time again, and nothing ever changes. This is not. It's not. This thing is never debated properly, and no one can seem to admit that there's a fucking problem here. Um, well, no one in sort of power or whatever. I mean, Joe Biden earlier today saying people need to stand up to the gun lobby. And I'm like, well, people, first of all, Joe Biden, you need to stand up to the fucking gun lobby. The actual U.S. government, your party needs to stand up to the fucking gun lobby. Um, but I just find it depressing because you kind of know nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to change in a year, 2 years, whatever it's going to be, 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. We're going to be sat here having that same conversation about guns, and there's going to be another 50, there's going to be another 15 or 20 people dead in the big shooting. There's going to be how many? I mean, how many mass shootings are there in America on a yearly basis? I'm not even an American, but it wears me the fuck down. So that's kind of all I've got to say about that, really. It just wears me the fuck down. Okie doke. So yeah, I'll try and get back to some bit more regular stuff. Um, I'm pretty sure there's some like philosophical articles I want to read. I like to do some readings of and having a look at. So I dabble down that further down that rabbit hole. Um, so yeah, 693 mass shootings are rising over a lot. I know that's what I mean. It just gets depressing, and I just to the point. Look, I'm not even an American, so it's not. So it's not even really. It's not even really on my doorstep or whatever. But I just can't. But it depresses the fuck out of me. I don't know how Americans must feel about this stuff because it depresses the fuck out of me. So I can't even begin to imagine how they're feeling about this. Um, so it, you know, but it's just, it's an end. It seems to be an endless cycle, and it seems to be an endless cycle of people who, innocent people who are needlessly gonna get fucking killed because because people in power seem incapable of actually doing anything about it. Anyway, I'm calling it a day. See you all later. Salute.